Welcome. On the fourth Sunday of Advent, we join with Mary, and as she goes to visit her older cousin Elizabeth, who is pregnant with John the Baptist, Mary is affirmed by Elizabeth and praised and honoured for saying yes to God and agreeing to bear the baby Jesus. And Mary then breaks into song. We sometimes call it Magnificat, after the Latin word. My soul magnifies the Lord, and my spirit rejoices in God my Saviour. She goes on later, God's brought down the powerful from their thrones and lifted up the lonely. He's filled the hungry with good things and sent the rich away empty. He has helped his servant Israel in remembrance of his mercy, according to the promise he made to our ancestors, to Abraham and his descendants forever. Eugene Peterson, in his translation, The Message, has Mary saying this: I'm bursting with God news. I'm dancing the song of my Saviour God. I'm wondering, when do we burst with God news? And have we ever experienced that, caught up in dancing the song of God my Saviour? And in Mary's song, she discovers and praises God for acting for the lowly. She's praising a God who loves to turn accepted things upside down. You're rich, you're blessed by God. You're poor, you've done something wrong. But it's Mary's very poverty that allows God to act richly in her life. And you know what? When we see her baby grown up to be an adult and doing his ministry, we see that Jesus acts exactly the same way his mother did, loves to turn things upside down. What looks like human success and human amazement is maybe nothing for God. So in this Advent, we remember we have a God who acts for the lowly, and that includes each one of us. And it's interesting that Mary bursts into song. This is a careful poem put to music. It's a song. And singing is powerful. It involves our whole body. When do you find yourself singing? Maybe in the shower? I sometimes sing or hum when I'm happy and I'm not even aware that I'm doing it. And other people around me smile and said, oh, you must be happy. It involves our whole body and it can change us. It changes how we can think and feel. And it's fascinating that choirs singing together in a group making a comeback. People love to do pub choirs or church choirs or community choirs, community bands, community groups. It changes how you think and feel. And it doesn't always have to be happy music. Sometimes singing the blues helps us to express what's happening. And sometimes it's only music that can touch us deeply and well. And with Mary, there's a defiance in singing this song and these words. She's saying, I'm little, I'm nothing, I'm a nobody, and yet in God, I'm everything, and I'm carrying the Saviour of the world. Mary says yes to God. Yes to God reaching out to her and saying, will you carry my child? Will you carry my life into the world? And Mary says yes to God. And I believe that's a little pointer to each one of us. Okay, she's young. She hasn't maybe been burnt by life as much as older people have been. And she can say yes without knowing everything that's going to cost her later. But even when we do know the cost, and how hard things can be sometimes, we still need to say yes to God, and yes to life, and yes to love, and yes to hope, and yes to forgiveness. Because the alternative to saying, nah, I'm not interested in life, not interested in love, not interested in forgiveness, that just closes us and shuts us right down. And that makes us pains to live with and pains to be with. we're always invited to say yes to God, yes to trust, yes to hope. And from Mary, we learn to come to God as we are. We come with our bodies. Mary, by saying yes to God, whoa, that changed her body, changed all her relationships with people around her, put her in a very difficult situation, but she relied on God to get her through. Our bodies are vital. That's where we live in, not just our heads. We live in our bodies. And that's where God comes to life too. What about our stories? Aren't they so important? And they can change over time. As we look back in our life and maybe think of each little bits as a chapter or a short story, maybe the titles we give to those incidents actually change over time. Instead of, oh, Michael stuffed up yet again, Michael learnt a powerful lesson, and Michael learnt a deeper trust. We come to God as we are with our futures. We're not stuck in a certain rut, and our life can only go one way. Futures are open. There are possibilities. Some of those possibilities are quite amazing. Things that have been latent or buried inside us are wanting to come to life, wanting to be followed through. Whether it's something artistic or music, or whether it's facing up to something we've always been running away from, there are immense possibilities. And we also come to God as we are with our limitations. And that's really important, to name where we're stuck. And of course, we come to God as we are, also with our failures, asking God to hold us, to carry us, to strengthen us, to be with us right in those difficult or painful places. So as part of our devotional practices, maybe each day, we get up in the morning, we say yes to God, we present ourselves to God right as we are. And maybe there's some of these things that we need to talk about or pray about in light of the coming day. And then there's that submission. Let it be to me according to your will. That's what Mary said to the angel Gabriel, who came to her with the good news that God had chosen her. Mary says yes. Let it be to me according to your will. And that might be a prayer that it would be good for us to pray, maybe at very difficult times, maybe each morning when we get up. Lord, you're here. This is your life. Let it be to me according to your will. I've got all these ideas about what I want, but let it be according to your will. And so the day opens up. Mary models God's holy aliveness, pregnant in each one of us. She says, here I am, the Lord's servant. Okay, when we're young, maybe we've got a lot of energy and a lot of love and things don't bother us and we just jump in where parents or grandparents or other people are saying, whoa, don't jump in there. But we jump in, we do things. Here I am, the Lord's servant. But no matter how old we are, no matter what we've been through, no matter how difficult it is to get motivated or face up to some things, God's holy aliveness is always present in each one of us. And God and us together are bringing something new to birth that blesses and does something amazing for those around us and for ourselves. Here I am, the Lord's servant. May you keep hearing the invitations to life. May you be faithful where you are, bringing yourself into God's presence, and may you discover something amazing about God's holy aliveness in you, and may there be new possibilities for you. Go in peace.